Hey, Sku.
Yeah.
I just found this cool app. It lets you explode supervillains' heads.
No!
What? I'm just going to blow up Jesse Eisenberg.
Oh, alright, go ahead.
I'm going to do it again.
I started a joke which started the whole world crying.
So we've just seen Suicide Squad, the latest in the DC Comics film extended universe, whatever they want to call it.
Yep.
And Sku, overall, what did you think? We're getting straight to the heart of it now. What did you think? Good, bad, what?
I didn't hate it.
And I think that's about as high praise as you're really going to get out of this film.
No, honestly, it was good. It wasn't great. It wasn't a perfect movie, but it was good. I'd heard a lot of rumblings, but it wasn't terrible.
No, and I think that's the key thing for me out of it, was that it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't the home run that we were expecting. The way that DC had sold it was this was going to be their Guardians of the Galaxy meets Deadpool.
Yeah, but
It was
come
going
on,
to
this
be
is
crazy
DC
humor
here we're talking about.
plus violence and bad guys, and we didn't really get that. What we got was a perfectly serviceable, fairly standard superhero movie.
Yeah.
There were some parts which were, yeah, that's kind of cool. The rest of it was sort of like, that's serviceable.
Y'all jokers must be crazy.
There were jokes in it. Many of them fell flat.
I'm known to be quite vexing. I'm just forewarning you.
You die.
A lot of
Very
them
flat.
were the ones from the trailer, so nobody really laughed because they'd seen that before. Maybe the problem was that there were just too many trailers beforehand. There were too many clips. There were too many TV spots. Because a lot of the footage, a lot of the clips we'd seen already. So you saw it again in the movie and you're just like, yeah, I've seen that. And then a lot of the other lines, yeah, it was a joke, but it kind of didn't quite land.
Just didn't like. I mean, certainly with our audience, the audience wasn't laughing at a lot of the parts where you felt this is supposed to be a laugh line.
Yeah.
It wasn't what would been sold, which had made the entire world very, very excited about this film, and this film is not that.
But then again, it kind of was that as well to some degree. Like, it was pretty much what I expected it to be. Maybe I thought it was going to be a little more funny. But ultimately, the rest of it was pretty much what I expected it to be. Tonally, it was a little bit up and down, a little bit. But it sort of glided in and out of the serious and the goofy reasonably well. The story was clear, it was straightforward. I understood everybody's motivations, and Rick Flag, his whole motivation, his character was fine. I thought Will Smith actually did a really good job. He was good old Will Smith again. He was charismatic, he was likable.
You might want to work on your team motivation thing. You heard of Phil Jackson? Yeah. He's like the gold standard. Okay? Triangle, bitch.
The actors are right. They've been cast well.
Yeah.
But the story isn't right. It doesn't live up to the potential that you've got when you've got the whole idea of this is a super villain team-up movie. This is something potentially very different from everything we've seen previously. And it just sort of comes off as generic and doesn't reach the potential that it could.
Yeah.
And when you take a look at the other big superhero brand that we're not going to mention, they actually make you feel like you've seen a complete movie with real characters.
Speaking of characters, let's talk about the Joker.
Whew.
Okay. He looked good. I love his look. Character, I'm not sure. It's not what I thought he was going to be.
No. The problem is you've got such an indelible character as the Joker, and we've seen some really iconic versions of him through Jack Nicholson's version in the '89 Batman film, and of course Heath Ledger's amazing version in The Dark Knight. For me, it was a case of Jared Leto's character is clearly different from those interpretations, but not wildly interestingly so.
No.
It was just sort of like, and here's another Joker. It's lacking. It's not the fully formed character that we certainly expected to see from the hype and trailers and everything like that. Some of the reviews have been saying that he's not in the movie enough. I had no problem with him.
I disagree, yeah. I thought he was in it quite a lot. He's in it quite a lot. Enough to make an impression.
Yeah, I didn't think it needed more Joker by any manner of means.
No.
Jared Leto's Joker is acceptable. There's a lot of room to grow there into something that can really be said as an iconic version of the character.
Hi, boys.
Harley Quinn was good, though, I thought.
I liked Harley.
Yeah.
Margot Robbie is definitely well cast in the role. You can see that she's having some fun, getting to grips with the character. The accent is good for our traditional Harley fans. Who
But
like
also
that sort of thing.
more realistic.
But also more realistic.
Yeah.
And There's a reasonable amount of sort of backstory to her in this film to establish her as a character, which I think is important because a lot of people won't know who this character is. I don't know that she really got a lot of, wow, that's awesomely cool stuff to do, though.
Yeah, true.
Anything in that one which establishes her.
She hits some dudes with a baseball bat, or she breaks a window, or she the thing in the lift. Maybe that's kind of her moment.
That's as close as I can think, but I mean, her character is much more between those action sequences, and she delivers that character perfectly fine.
Know what they say about the crazy ones?
Huh?
So it's not all bad then, is it?
Oh, by
there's
no
redeeming
means.
qualities to this movie.
Absolutely.
It was entertaining. It held my attention. I followed it. I understood the motivations. It was directed reasonably well. Some of the action was a little bit jarring. Editorially, I felt that there was quite a lot of music montages. I've heard this people complaining about this before, and it felt like they did that in the editing room to me to keep it moving, keep you entertained. But I felt they did that like about 4 times too much. I mean, they were all good songs that they picked, but they just did it one song after the other, and I was like, okay, you're really worried that you're going to lose people's attention here, so you're going to chuck in a song constantly,
They really should have spent some more time streamlining that and making it feel more organic.
Yeah.
Very early on, we've got a restaurant scene with Amanda Waller and some generals and politicians, and then we go straight into a scene in the Pentagon with Amanda Waller and some generals and politicians. Why didn't they just collapse those two into one scene? It could have easily done all the work that you needed to and utilised that as the means to be able to briefly set up characters. I just think that could have been done much more organically and feel less forced, because when we went into that first, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes or so, it felt really ham-fisted and chunked together, and it really didn't feel like that was what the director intended.
Really, really bad.
We've talked about Harley, Deadshot, Will Smith. You enjoyed him. I enjoyed him.
He gave it his all in this one, and I thought he did a good job. It was almost the old Will Smith back again. He was charismatic, he was funny, and he put some effort into it.
Yeah. I mean, definitely this was more like the Will Smith that we're used to, and I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
There was still a little bit of sort of solemn gravelness in him, which kind of suits the character. Whether that's what we exactly needed in the movie to be able to help drive it along, I'm not sure. But it's certainly one of the most enjoyable Will Smith performances I've seen in a while.
But it was Will Smith.
It was definitely Will Smith.
It wasn't Deadshot.
No.
He wore the mask once?
Twice. Because he did put it on that one time to take it off a couple of minutes later when he'd not done anything in between, which actually needed him to be wearing
it just
a
makes you think Will Smith just comes in and he's like, man, I ain't wearing that. I'll wear it once. I'll wear it twice.
This is superhero mask syndrome that we see in all cinematic movies.
Except for Dredd.
Except for Dredd. Bless you, Carl Urban, you're a legend.
Yeah, he's a legend.
But, original Spider-Man Tobey Maguire films,
half
the time...
Have it ripped off.
There's no reason that he should have the mask off as much as he does. And, it's the same here. You've got Will Smith. People want to see Will Smith, and Will Smith wants to be seen as Will Smith in this.
Don't forget, we're the bad guys.
So, let's look at the rest of the squad. Killer Croc.
Yeah.
Very impressive visually. Love that. Great makeup.
Yeah.
He spends a lot of the time just growling.
Yeah.
We didn't get that much character out of him.
No.
He had a couple of lines which I felt were like, oh, that's cool, really fun. He's got this sort of deep southern accent and, established character well in those couple of little bits that he was given. But you felt like they could have done more with that and let him sort of establish more. You look at the plot, he didn't really do anything. And the same could be said of Captain Boomerang. When you take a look at it...
relief, really, that's all he was.
He didn't provide that much comedy. I mean...
Yeah, he did. I thought he was... This is probably the best role that Jai Courtney's had.
That is not saying much.
Since Spartacus.
You got a boyfriend?
Katana.
Yeah, she was... Okay.
Looked cool, barely in it.
Yeah, she talked to her sword.
Talked to her sword. She was just sort of there. Didn't really do much.
No, not really. Didn't know.
No. Who else?
The flaming guy. What's his name?
The flaming guy.
Yeah, Human Torch.
Yeah. Human Torch was great in Captain America Civil
Well, he
War.
had a backstory. No. Wait, who are we talking about?
El Diablo.
El Diablo!
Yeah. El Diablo, I think, has the most rounded story in there, short of Deadshot.
Yeah.
They did actually... They kind of made some interesting points with him in the first place, in that he'd sort of seemed to have become a pacifist. which is a really interesting place to start that character.
Yeah.
Could have been done better, but the general gist of it was good, and he was probably the most interesting character, and I would have liked to see more of that developed in the dialogue.
He was likable too.
Yeah.
The witch.
Enchantress.
I would just call her the witch.
The witch, yeah, sure.
She was
Yeah.
She was doing a thing that was kind of interesting.
Got kind of creepy, boring after a while. It's a weird combination, I know, but
Yeah.
I didn't feel that her grand scheme was all that well articulated. She was making this machine which would do lightning things.
Yeah, big blue lightning thing in the sky again.
Because we haven't seen enough big shards of blue lightning hitting up into the sky in a superhero movie
And
before.
freeing her brother to walk around.
He was free then, and then he was walking around.
And he was big.
Yeah. Not the greatest villain, I gotta say. I thought the actress, performing her was perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But again, I think it comes down to that clarity in the script and clear focus on what they want to do.
I don't think the sort of 33% Rotten Tomatoes is quite fair, and all the people that are ripping this movie hard, I don't think that's quite fair. It's not that bad. Like I said, I didn't hate it. It was good. It wasn't great.
Yeah, I don't think...
It's sort of just middle ground.
It's not 33% Rotten Tomatoes. It's maybe 51, 52.
Yeah, it's slightly better than...
It's
just
average. It's very average.
Maybe a tiny bit above average.
Yeah,
There's
just
certain elements of it.
Little bleeps above average.
Little bleeps above average, yeah.
I do think that this film was misrepresented in the trailers. We didn't get that film. We got a different sort of film which doesn't have all the same sort of punch and impact that those trailers had. And, good on your Warner Brothers trailer making department. But, the filmmaking side of it itself, it's just not firing on all cylinders like it really wants to and needs to at this stage if you want to compete with the opposition. The Disney-owned superhero...
That's enough.
Universe. Okay.
We will not say...
Marvel!
Yeah.
Marvel! I'm a Marvel guy!
So those are our thoughts on Suicide Squad. Let us know what you guys thought of it down below. I'm sure there'll be a lot of divided opinions out there.
Absolutely.
Thumbs up our video, subscribe to the channel. We are out of here for now.
Yes, but make sure that you join our Suicide Squad by subscribing. You don't like that joke, do you? Well...